Guess who showed up? You're welcome, ladies. You're welcome. Hi, and welcome to Rudy's Movie Review, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. And welcome to episode 5. I was gonna say cuatro. Of Rudy and his Superfriends, where I bring another mate to the house and we talk movies. And yes, your eyes are not deceiving you, ladies. And not gentlemen, just ladies. I have brought the lovely Mr. Chris Darley.
Darling. Yeah.
Darling. Hey!
Darlie.
Okay, I brought Chris back. And we're going to talk about one of our favorite classic Mel Brooks films. And what are we going to talk about today, man?
Young Frankenstein. I'm very excited about this one. I love it. I love it. Gene Wilder, amazing. Yes, we're big, like I said, Mel Brooks fans. And this is a long time coming. So let's get started on Young Frankenstein. Froderick.
Ah! Now, Chris, I bet you didn't know this. Well, maybe you did because you love comedies like I do. In my research for this film, I found out that when Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks were wrapping up Blazing Saddles, they actually had lunch, and Gene Wilder had an idea about doing a Frankenstein movie. And Mel Brooks was like, no, that's been done before, and we don't want to touch that. And he's had the pitch of like, no, this is the godson of Victor Frankenstein, and he wants nothing to do with this family history, and he's embarrassed by it, and he's trying to go ahead and make a name for himself. And Mel Brooks said, well, that's funny. Let's go ahead and do it. But they actually came up with the idea while wrapping up Blazing Saddles.
Dude, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did not know that, though. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, dude. And another thing I loved about it, and again, I just discovered this film 3 years ago, but watching it and preparing for this review, I really admired the set design. There's some scenes, and the whole set of the castle is beautifully shot. We're talking super high ceilings. The lighting's amazing. And also to prepare for this video, I actually watched the 1931 Frankenstein movie. Nice. And I have to hand it to Mel Brooks. This film is like a Valentine to the classic horror movies that the Universal Pictures put out, because it looks amazing. It's to the T. There's little details that I don't want to give away yet. We'll talk about that later. That he parodies in Young Frankenstein. So his lighting, set design, the sound mix of the lightning crashing outside, it's just wonderfully made, and it's a perfect match in honor of the classic films.
Yeah, it has I mean, obviously the movie's filmed in black and white.
Yeah.
But that kind of gives it like an eerie, classic, horror, cult classic kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of parts you'll see Gene Wilder's face. It looks horrible, like not horrible, but it's just kind of old school scary. Like, you know, if you weren't exposed to a lot. And you see this, I mean, his eyes are huge and piercing, and his hair's all over, like really super mad scientist, like the epitome of a mad scientist. I mean, he's bringing a dead guy back to life. So.
My creation!
Now, another thing I want to talk about, Chris, is obviously this film is loaded with just a wonderful cast from top to bottom. We're talking Marty Feldman. We're talking, of course, Gene Wilder.
Melanie Kahn.
The lovely. Oh my God.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Melanie Kahn. First crush, by the way.
And by the way, we discovered this as we became friends and all that we both had a huge crush on Miss Kahn here, because I don't know, for me, a woman that can make me laugh is just so the way to my heart. And she was like, ever since Blazing Saddles and a few other movies, Clue, she was in Clue as well. I just love the way she's obviously beautiful, but she was funny and hilarious, man.
It's just her chemistry with Gene Wilder. I love the chemistry.
The train scene, right?
The train scene is hilarious. Yeah, there's a part in the beginning of the movie where they're lovers, they're fiance,
right?
And he's getting ready to go to Transylvania to follow up on his grandfather's work, and he's saying farewell to his beloved, and it's Melanie Kahn, and she's dazzled out. All this jewelry, perfect mink coat, you know, like really bougie. And every time like he wants to say goodbye or give her a kiss, she's like, "Oh, not the lips."
So alive.
Not on the lips.
Sweet love.
The hair.
Sweet love.
Taffeta, darling.
Taffeta, sweetheart.
No, the dress is taffeta. It wrinkles so easily.
Going to a party, you don't want to smear my lips. And the nails and the tussle, it's a bad fabric, it'll wrinkle.
Yeah. He gets to the point he can't even touch her. So when they say bye, they're just they
good to see you. Yeah, like good to see you.
Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, Freddie.
Even to the part when he's on the train, he goes to give her a kiss, like blow her a kiss, and she like dodges the kiss. It's that kind of comedy that you don't see anymore. I love it. Like it's most comedy these days is, you know, offensive on purpose.
Yeah.
Or, you know, dirty and crude.
Like dark humor, but it's meant to get a real rise out of you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny because it's like, oh my goodness, like that broke a filter, that broke a wall. Like, can they really say that on camera? But back then, this was the kind of comedy we got.
What?
Of course, we cannot go without speaking of CLORIS LEACHMAN. Fran Bruja. Yes. What do you have to say about her performance?
Well, for Fran Bruja.
I think we're good. It's outside.
Yeah.
I don't know what's into this. I don't have no idea.
It's supposed to storm tonight?
I guess.
Anyway.
So, what do you love about her performance?
Just how deadpan she was on everything. She had like this, like the mole going on. Her hair was done perfectly, and she just had this like straight unibrow going, and she was just very serious all the time.
Very stoic.
I am Frau Blucher.
Yeah, stoic.
There's like one scene after she tells Gene Wilder to watch the candles.
Oh, yeah.
And she walks out of the frame and she like smirks, like she's trying to contain her laughter. But I think that
stay close to the candles.
Yeah.
Stay close to the candles. The staircase can be treacherous.
Stairs can be treacherous. Candles are not even lit, by the way.
And that's a joke. If you haven't noticed, she's telling everybody to stay close to the candles and they're off.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
And there's candles lit all the way around the whole entire castle. I mean,
yeah, I just love how she's very stoic, and Gene Wilder can go, I want to say like Homer Simpson, very calm and then just escalate like crazy. That's my Gene Wilder. But he just can go from 0 to 100 just like that, and I just like how they play off each other. And of course, we can't go on this retro review without talking about the awesome performance of Peter Boyle, who played the monster. And
Frankenstein?
His introduction, man, I freaking love it. He's actually cast as the monster, by the way.
Oh, okay. That makes
Frankenstein's
sense.
A doctor.
Yeah.
This monster. But anyway, I just love how his character's introduced. It's a live scene, and Gene Wilder goes down there, and he yells at the top of his lungs. And the first camera shot we get of Peter Boyle is just like,
it's alive!
It's a total contrast to what you were expecting, and that's all I love about Mel Brooks. He builds it up to what you think is going to happen, and then he totally 180s you, and you just get this monster on the table. You're just kind of looking around like, okay, what the hell is that about? But what are your favorite scenes, or what do you love about Peter Boyle?
Actually, you kind of hit the nail on the head. His facial expressions are priceless, because even later on in the movie, there's a scene where he gets loose, and it's like broad daylight.
And this is an homage tribute to the original Frankenstein.
Yeah, this is this little girl, cute little girl, like picking daisies and throwing them in a well. And Frankenstein, the monster, is there, and she's like, "Oh well, I'm all out of petals. What else should we throw in there?" And all of a sudden, it pans to his face, and Peter Boyle's face is like,
"Oh dear, nothing left. What shall we throw in now?"
Insinuating he wants to throw the kid in the well, which I thought was pretty dark for its time.
Yeah. And of course, and again, it's an homage to the original Frankenstein. In the original, if you haven't seen it, there's the same scene, the little girl's throwing rose petals, in a lake, and she goes, "Oh, we're all out. What are we gonna throw next?" And Frankenstein, as a child with a child mind, he gets the girl, throws her in the water, and she drowns. So again, that's just, you know, Mel Brooks and the cast and crew, Peter Boyle, just nodding that we think something's going to happen, and he just nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. He just looks at the camera.
So another scene is obviously the iconic "Put It on the Ritz" dance performance, the tap performance, I should say. I mean, I just the fact that they got away with doing that.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
That whole scene's iconic because he's taking a freaking monster and putting on a freaking showbiz play, man.
Dude, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole, come on, don't make me look like a fool.
For God's sake, come on! Are you trying to make me look like a fool?
Now, there's one more performance I want to talk about, and that is Kenneth Mars, who plays Inspector Kemp. Now, it's funny because, again, I hadn't seen this movie until 3 years ago, and I have to admire his physical comedy because he plays an inspector, which is actually a parody of an inspector in The Son of Frankenstein, who has a wooden arm. I didn't know that.
Didn't know that?
Yeah, I found that out in my research. But anyway, just the comedy of him just synchronizing, just lighting a cigar. Just watch this scene real quick. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I was watching, Mel Brooks was saying that Kenneth Mars' German accent was so accurate and so thick, no one on the set could understand him.
And it transpired in the movie as well.
Yeah, that's why they threw that scene in there like, what?
What? Frankenstein is indeed following in his grandfather's footsteps. What? Following in his grandfather's footsteps. Footsteps.
But I have to just give him a nod of like, hey, that's an amazing performance, and the time it took just again to just synchronize, like it's almost like a mime act. Just like, you have a wooden arm and this is how you move. This is not moving until you do something.
Yeah, and that goes to the subtle comedy that Mel Brooks does. And I mean, he has an eye for this stuff. I mean, that same character, as he's trying to light this cigarette or cigar, you notice he has a monocle dangling.
That's right,
but he's wearing an eye patch, and he puts the monocle over his eye patch and continues on his conversation. Like he's this, you know, important aristocrat.
A monocle and an eye patch.
It's hilarious. That's the comedy. It's classic.
Yeah, it's a visual comedy that this film is one of those films you really have to pay attention to, because if you take your eyes off the screen for just a couple minutes, you'll miss the setup to a joke. Going back to the dart game, when it's young Frankenstein's time to play. As he's shooting, Inspector Clump is saying things to kind of throw his aim off, and he's missing. He's throwing the darts out the window.
But this is Transylvania. And you are a Frankenstein.
It's et cetera, he's just messing up. And as Inspector Clump leaves, you see his driver open the door for him, and he's got a dart in his head.
There's like 8 darts in the wheels.
8 darts in the tires, and his tires are flat. So you have to pay attention to this film because the comedy is just, it's awesome. It really is. Oh, by the way, Kenneth Mars is actually the dad in For Keeps, the 1980s Molly Ringwald movie.
Ah.
Remember, like, he needs to go to Caltech! That guy. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah? What about my son's oysters, huh? He's got this brilliant career ahead of him, designing schools and churches and shit.
Well, any final thoughts, Mr. Chris, on this review on Young Frankenstein? Anything you'd like to say to the folks about the film? Any closing thoughts, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, if you, after this, and you've seen his Spaceballs review.
It's right.
And we've mentioned a lot of Mel Brooks' movies already. I have faith in you to go and watch these movies.
Ladies, listen to
Get cultured with the classic comedy ways of Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder and the late, great Melanie Kahn. And let us know what you think. But Rudy, thanks for having me. And this was great. I love coming to do a Super Friends episode with you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming, dude. I appreciate you being here, sir. It's an awesome time. If the whole video, I'm cracking up because that's how much fun we have together, and we're talking about films we love as well. But again, the closing thoughts for myself, it's a classic. It's a shame Mel Brooks type of comedy really couldn't be sold today in today's comedy. There's a lot of people are way more sensitive now, and the comedy style is a little different. I guess that goes with the generation, but if you really want to see a true master at work, from acting, the chemistry on set, to just the timing.
Where are you going?
To wash up. I've got to look normal. We've all of us got to behave normally.
You have to check out Young Frankenstein and watch the entire Mel Brooks catalog. You won't be disappointed. I highly recommend every single one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, sir. Well, I think we're done here. This was a good time.
Great time. Great time.
Again, thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
And of course, as always, thank you for watching Rudy's Movie Reviews, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. Please take care. God bless and live long and prosper.
Blucha!
Luca!